Why is it that the man who cares less gets more attention? You text first. You reply fast. You try to do everything right. You show interest. You communicate clearly. You stay loyal. You give reassurance. And still, you feel her pulling away. Meanwhile, the calm man, the one who is not chasing, not over-explaining, not reacting, lives rent-free in her mind. If you are tired of confusion, tired of overthinking, tired of feeling like you care more than she does, comment, calm wins. Number 1, he does not chase. He does not chase because he finally understands that chasing is not effort. It is fear dressed up as effort. And you know exactly what that fear feels like because you live it when you stare at your phone waiting for a reply, when you reread your last message wondering if you sounded too interested, when you feel that tight pull in your chest because her energy shifts and suddenly you are adjusting yourself to regain control. And in that moment you are not leading your life, you are reacting to hers. And that is the silent trap that keeps you small. Chasing begins the second you believe that someone else's attention is the source of your stability. So you overgive, overtext, over-explain. You initiate every conversation, you plan every date. You reassure her when she is unsure while secretly hoping she will reassure you back. And when she does not match your energy, you push harder instead of pulling back, thinking persistence will prove your worth. But what it actually proves is that you are afraid to lose something you barely even had. And this is where the shift must happen, because Stoic discipline demands that you detach from what is not in your control and focus on what is. And her level of interest is not in your control. Her mood is not in your control. Her timing is not in your control. But your response is, and when you finally grasp that truth, you stop chasing not out of pride, but out of clarity. Imagine this clearly. You send a message and she replies hours later with one sentence. Your old pattern pushes you to send another message to keep the conversation alive, to entertain, to prove you are interesting, to hold her attention. But the disciplined version of you reads her level of investment and matches it instead of exceeding it, because exceeding it signals imbalance, and imbalance destroys attraction. And when you match energy, you force reality to reveal itself. If she is interested, she will step forward. If she is not, she will fade. And in both cases, you remain stable because you are no longer trying to manufacture desire. You must train yourself to sit with the discomfort of not knowing, because most chasing is simply the inability to tolerate uncertainty, and uncertainty is part of life, part of dating, part of growth. So instead of reacting, you observe your urge to act. You feel it fully. You do not suppress it. You just do not obey it. And that moment of restraint builds internal strength far more than any persuasive message ever could. Have you ever noticed that when you pull back with composure instead of desperation, the dynamic changes? She begins asking what you are doing. She begins initiating. She begins wondering where your attention went. And it is not because you are playing games, but because you are finally valuing your time. And people value what is valued by its owner. Chasing also reveals a deeper issue, a lack of purpose. Because when your schedule is empty and your identity revolves around romantic validation, you naturally cling to whoever gives you a spark of attention. So the solution is not just to text less, it is to build more. Build your body with disciplined training that demands effort and consistency. Build your skills with focused practice that stretches your competence. Build your finances with structured goals that require planning and patience. And as your life expands, your need to chase shrinks because you are too engaged in growth to beg for crumbs. Many people will tell you that persistence shows passion, but blind persistence in the face of low interest shows self-neglect, and self-neglect disguised as devotion leads to resentment later, because you will give and secretly expect equal return, and when it does not arrive, you will feel used. But the truth is, you volunteered for that imbalance, so take responsibility and correct it now. Do not send the second message. Do not reschedule immediately when plans are cancelled. Do not explain your value to someone who is not asking about it. Instead, place your energy where it is reciprocated and where it compounds, and track your behavior like a disciplined student of your own life. Notice how often you initiate. Notice how often you compromise your schedule. Notice how often you lower standards to avoid losing someone, and each time you catch yourself, adjust calmly, because transformation is not loud, it is consistent. Chasing ends when you decide that being chosen is less important than being aligned with your own standards. And this requires courage, because you may lose options in the short term, but you gain respect for yourself in the long term. And that self-respect becomes visible in your posture, your tone, your pace, your decisions, and that presence alone changes how others respond to you. In present tense, you stop chasing today by setting one rule. You never invest more than the other person over a sustained period. You give space for them to step forward, and if they do not, you accept the data and move on without bitterness, because your worth is not measured by someone's hesitation. It is measured by your commitment to growth. And when you internalize this fully, you no longer chase connection, you attract it through steadiness. And that steadiness is built through daily acts of restraint, purpose, and disciplined focus on what you can actually control, which is yourself. If you are ready to internalize this discipline at a deeper level, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men is built exactly for that transformation, filled with timeless Stoic principles that train you to detach from outcomes, master your impulses, and build unshakable self-control in modern relationships. It answers the questions you keep asking yourself at night when the phone is silent, when interest feels uncertain, when you are tempted to chase again even though you know better. Every chapter breaks down how to apply these principles in real situations, so you stop reacting emotionally and start moving with clarity and strength immediately. It is now available in audiobook format, which means you can absorb this life-changing knowledge while walking, training, commuting, or building your body, turning idle time into growth. The link is in the comments, and once it is yours, it stays yours. Permanent access to guidance you can return to whenever doubt tries to pull you back into old patterns. If you are serious about becoming the man who does not chase but chooses, this is not just a book. It is a blueprint you carry with you for life. Number 2, he controls his emotions. Emotional control becomes your greatest advantage the moment you realize that most of your suffering in dating is not caused by what she does, but by the story you tell yourself about what she does. Because when a reply takes longer than expected, you immediately assume loss of interest. When her tone shifts slightly, you assume replacement. When she says she needs space, you assume rejection, and these assumptions create internal chaos that pushes you to react in ways that lower your position, sending paragraphs, seeking reassurance, asking where you stand too early, and every reaction exposes dependence on an outcome you cannot command. So the shift begins when you accept fully that you do not control timing, feelings, or another person's decisions. You only control your perception and your behavior, and this acceptance is not passive. It is powerful because it forces you to confront your lack of discipline. Imagine you receive a cold response after investing emotional energy. Your chest tightens, your thoughts accelerate, your pride feels challenged, and in that moment you have two options: react from insecurity or respond from strength. And responding from strength means pausing long enough to separate fact from interpretation. The fact is simple, she responded briefly. The interpretation is that you are losing her, and once you separate those two, you remove unnecessary suffering because you stop dramatizing and start observing. Emotional control is built through deliberate discomfort. Waking up when you say you will wake up, finishing workouts when your body wants to quit, completing tasks when motivation drops, because each act trains you to override impulse. And when you override impulse daily, you become less reactive in relationships. You stop sending emotional messages at midnight. You stop checking social media to decode signals. You stop confronting prematurely, and instead, you evaluate patterns calmly over time. Have you ever noticed how the person who reacts least often holds the most power in the room? Because emotional steadiness communicates security, and security is rare in a culture addicted to validation. So when you remain composed after a cancellation or a delayed response, you break the cycle that most people fall into, and this steadiness forces reality to reveal itself without you pushing it. You begin implementing strict internal rules: no emotional decisions after 9 p.m., no serious conversations over text, no immediate replies when triggered. You write your thoughts in a journal before expressing them. You wait 24 hours before confronting anything that feels disrespectful. And this waiting period filters emotional noise from actual patterns. Over time, you realize that most reactions you once believed were necessary were actually driven by ego and fear. And when ego no longer leads, you become harder to destabilize, not cold, not distant, but grounded, because your state is not dictated by another person's inconsistency. Emotional control also requires you to stop seeking constant clarity, because clarity forced too early often destroys natural progression. Instead, you observe actions over time and allow consistency or inconsistency to expose itself. And if inconsistency persists, you adjust your investment without drama. This discipline transforms more than dating. It improves negotiations, friendships, career decisions. Because you are no longer a slave to temporary emotion, you operate from principle instead of impulse, and that principle is simple: act based on your standards, not your feelings. In present tense, you catch yourself when anxiety rises. You breathe slowly. You remind yourself that losing someone is not losing yourself. You redirect energy into productive action. You train your body. You read. You build. And by the time she reaches out again, you are not waiting. You are moving forward. And that forward motion becomes your identity. And when emotional steadiness becomes your baseline, attraction grows naturally because you radiate self-control instead of need. And that is a position very few people maintain consistently. Number 3, he is not easily available. Availability is a silent signal of how much you value your own time, and when you are constantly reachable, constantly adjusting your schedule, constantly free at a moment's notice, you communicate that your life revolves around whoever demands your attention, and even if you believe this shows dedication, it often signals lack of direction, because a person deeply committed to growth does not have unlimited idle time. So the transformation begins when you treat your schedule as sacred, not negotiable. And this requires confronting the uncomfortable truth that you often cancel your own priorities to avoid disappointing someone else, which means you disappoint yourself instead. Imagine you have planned your evening to work on a project, train your body, or study a skill, and she sends a last-minute message asking to meet. The old pattern urges you to drop everything to prove interest, but the disciplined version of you checks alignment first. If the timing fits your schedule, you accept. If it disrupts your priorities, you calmly propose another day. And this single action communicates that your life has structure. Structure builds respect because it shows you are not drifting, you are building. Many people mistake constant availability for kindness, but consistent over-availability erodes perceived value because scarcity shapes appreciation, and this principle applies everywhere. Limited resources are valued more than abundant ones, so when your time is limited due to purpose, it naturally becomes more attractive. This does not mean playing distant. It means creating a full life that does not collapse if plans change. You develop weekly goals, fixed gym sessions, focused work blocks, social time with friends, solo reflection periods, And when your calendar reflects intentional living, you stop feeling the urge to cling to unpredictable attention. Have you ever felt that anxiety when she pulls away, and suddenly you have nothing scheduled, nothing meaningful occupying your mind, and all your thoughts circle around her absence? That emptiness is not caused by her. It is caused by lack of engagement in your own direction. So the solution is expansion. Expand your network. Expand your skills. Expand your health. Expand your income streams, because expansion reduces desperation. You begin setting boundaries around communication as well. You do not reply instantly every time, not as a tactic, but because you are engaged elsewhere. You avoid endless daily texting that replaces real connection. You prefer meaningful interaction over constant low-effort exchange, and this shift filters out those who seek attention without commitment. Availability is also emotional. When you constantly offer reassurance without receiving consistency, you become a safety net rather than a challenge, and safety without standards breeds complacency. So you allow uncertainty to exist without rushing to resolve it. You let interest grow organically, and if it does not grow, you accept that reality rather than forcing it. This mindset requires courage because it means you might lose short-term validation, but it strengthens long-term position, and in present tense you prioritize self-development even when tempted to drop everything. You protect your routine, you protect your goals, you protect your sleep, and gradually you notice a shift. You feel less anxious, less reactive, more centered, and that centered presence changes how others engage with you. Not being easily available is not about withholding, it is about building, and when your life is full by design rather than by distraction, relationships complement it instead of consuming it. And that is the level of control that transforms your confidence, because you no longer fear being left with nothing. You are never left with nothing when you are consistently investing in yourself. Number 4. He's mysterious. Mystery begins the moment you stop over-explaining yourself to secure approval and start allowing people to experience you gradually instead of consuming your entire story at once, because you know exactly what happens when you reveal everything too quickly. You meet someone new, you feel connection, and within days you are sharing childhood wounds, past betrayals, deep fears, future plans, emotional expectations, and hidden insecurities. Thinking transparency builds closeness, yet what it often builds is overexposure, and overexposure removes tension, curiosity, and the natural progression that makes connection meaningful. Imagine sitting across from someone who answers every question with long explanations, fills every pause instantly, reveals every detail before it is earned. There is nothing left to explore, nothing left to unfold, and attraction fades. Not because honesty is wrong, but because pacing is absent. Mystery is not deception, it is disciplined depth. It is understanding that not everyone deserves immediate access to your inner world, and access must be granted slowly based on consistency and earned trust. Most people overshare because they crave validation. They want to be understood quickly. They want reassurance that their vulnerability is accepted. But when you rush vulnerability without foundation, you place your emotional weight on someone who has not yet demonstrated capacity to carry it, and that imbalance creates instability. Instead, you begin practicing restraint in conversation. You answer clearly but briefly. You share insights but not your entire philosophy. You reveal ambition, but not every detailed blueprint. You allow curiosity to build naturally, and when questions arise, you respond in a way that invites thought, rather than closing every loop instantly. Have you ever noticed how intrigue forms when someone cannot fully predict you, when your schedule is structured but not constantly explained, when your plans exist but are not broadcast, when your emotions are steady but not publicly dissected? That sense of depth draws people in because humans are wired to pursue what feels layered. Mystery also protects you from premature emotional entanglement, because when you reveal everything too early, you attach quickly, and quick attachment often blinds you to inconsistency, so pacing becomes your safeguard. You observe patterns before investing deeper. You watch actions over time. You avoid sharing intimate fears with someone who has not yet proven reliability. And this disciplined filtering saves you from unnecessary disappointment. Consider how often you have spoken about your goals to impress rather than to build. How often you have shared personal struggles hoping sympathy would increase closeness, and how often that openness reduced perceived strength instead of enhancing it. This is not about hiding pain, it is about timing and discernment. Strength lies in choosing when and how much to reveal, and that choice requires internal security, because only someone grounded can resist the urge to overcompensate with excessive detail. Begin applying simple rules. Pause before answering personal questions. Condense long explanations into concise responses. Redirect conversations toward shared experiences instead of self-disclosure marathons. And allow silence in dialogue without rushing to fill it, because measured communication signals confidence. Mystery extends beyond words into lifestyle. You pursue growth quietly. You improve your body without announcing every workout. You study without posting every page. You progress without constant updates. And when results speak, they carry more weight than declarations ever could. This approach transforms how others perceive you, because unpredictability within stability creates intrigue. You are consistent in values yet not fully transparent in every thought. You are engaged but not over-invested, expressive but not excessive. In present tense, you evaluate each interaction and ask whether you are speaking to connect or speaking to impress, whether you are revealing to build depth or revealing to avoid rejection, and that awareness shifts your behavior immediately. Mystery is not about being distant, it is about being deliberate. You choose which layers to reveal and when. You understand that true connection grows through shared experiences over time, rather than emotional flooding in the beginning. And as you internalize this discipline, you notice a shift. Conversations feel lighter, tension feels healthier, curiosity increases, and you stop feeling exposed or overextended. The deeper truth is that mystery reflects self-containment, and self-containment reflects inner order when your thoughts are organized, your emotions regulated, and your goals clear. You do not feel compelled to broadcast everything. You operate with quiet direction, and that direction naturally commands attention. People lean in when they sense there is more beneath the surface, and when you master pacing, measured speech, and intentional disclosure, you create that sense effortlessly, not as a tactic, but as a byproduct of self-control. And in doing so, you transform not only how others engage with you, but how you value yourself, because you stop giving pieces of your identity away freely and start protecting the depth that makes you unique. Number 5. He walks away when disrespected. Walking away is not dramatic. It is disciplined, and discipline begins the moment you stop negotiating your standards in exchange for temporary attention, because you know exactly what it feels like to tolerate behavior that quietly lowers your self-respect. Laughing at comments that feel diminishing, accepting last-minute cancellations repeatedly, ignoring inconsistent effort while telling yourself patience will fix it. And every time you allow something that contradicts your values, you feel a subtle internal drop in confidence that no one else sees but you carry it, and that internal erosion shapes how you speak, how you text, how you show up. Disrespect is not always loud. Sometimes it is subtle patterns of disregard, delayed replies with no explanation while active elsewhere, promises made casually and broken easily, jokes that target your ambition or boundaries, and when you remain silent, not out of wisdom but out of fear of losing connection, you teach others that access to you has no cost. Walking away begins with clarity. You define in writing what behaviors you will not tolerate. You list them clearly: repeated flaking, public embarrassment, emotional manipulation, dismissive language, and once defined, you commit to enforcing consequences calmly, not with lectures, not with emotional outbursts, but with reduced access. Imagine someone repeatedly cancels plans an hour before meeting. The old pattern is to express frustration, then accept the next invitation immediately, reinforcing that your time adjusts to theirs. The discipline pattern is simple. You acknowledge once that consistency matters to you, and if the behavior continues, you stop initiating, you invest elsewhere, you allow absence to communicate what words no longer need to repeat. Walking away requires detachment from outcome, because you must be prepared to lose what you once desired. And this is where most people fail. They claim standards but panic when enforcing them, and that panic exposes dependency. The solution is building a life so full that losing one option does not feel catastrophic. You cultivate physical strength, financial direction, intellectual growth, social expansion, and when your world is expansive, you no longer cling to a single source of validation. Have you ever stayed in a dynamic longer than you should have because you feared starting over, feared loneliness, feared that better would not come? And in that fear, you accepted less than you deserved. That is the exact moment discipline must replace emotion, because emotion seeks comfort while principle seeks alignment. In present tense, you observe behavior objectively over time, instead of excusing it immediately. You stop rationalizing red flags as misunderstandings when patterns are consistent. You give one clear boundary, and then you watch actions, not promises. And if actions do not align, you withdraw attention without resentment. Withdrawal is not punishment, it is self-preservation, and when you preserve your dignity consistently, you project strength naturally. Boundaries also apply internally. You refuse to chase closure from someone who does not offer it. You refuse to send emotional messages seeking validation after disrespect. You refuse to stalk social media searching for reassurance, because each of those actions deepens attachment to someone who has already shown misalignment. Discipline in this area transforms your identity because you begin trusting yourself to act in accordance with your values rather than your fears, and that self-trust radiates in every interaction. Walking away also teaches patience, because instead of clinging to immediate gratification, you wait for alignment, and waiting from strength feels different than waiting from desperation. It is calm, steady, confident. When you leave a situation that undermines your standards, you may feel temporary discomfort, but that discomfort sharpens you. It reminds you that self-respect has a price, and you are finally willing to pay it. People often test limits unconsciously, and when they see limits enforced consistently without emotional volatility, respect increases. But even if respect does not increase, you remain intact, and remaining intact is the real victory. This mindset reshapes your entire life because you stop tolerating mediocrity, not just in relationships, but in career, friendships, habits, and self-talk. You walk away from environments that stunt growth. You walk away from conversations that drain energy. You walk away from internal excuses that justify stagnation. And each time you choose alignment over attachment, you reinforce your identity as someone who values self-respect above temporary comfort. In this state, you no longer fear losing connection because you understand that connection, built on compromised standards, is fragile, while connection built on mutual respect is durable, and by enforcing boundaries consistently, you filter out misalignment early, saving months or years of frustration. Walking away is not about proving a point. It is about proving to yourself that you will not abandon your principles for attention. And once that proof accumulates through repeated disciplined actions, you stand differently, speak differently, choose differently, and attraction becomes a byproduct of self-respect rather than something you chase. In present tense, you choose standards, you choose consistency, you choose dignity, and when those choices cost you short-term validation, you accept the cost because long-term integrity matters more, and that shift alone elevates your life beyond dating into a place of grounded strength that cannot be easily shaken. Number 6. He has his own mission. Purpose changes everything, because the moment your life revolves around a mission bigger than validation, you stop shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's uncertainty, and you start expanding into the direction you choose deliberately, and you know exactly what it feels like when you do not have that direction, because your mind drifts constantly toward whoever is giving or withholding attention. You wake up checking your phone before checking your goals. You measure your mood based on replies instead of progress, and without realizing it, you place emotional power in someone else's hands. But when you operate with a defined mission, your energy reorganizes. Your mornings begin with intention instead of distraction. Your schedule reflects priorities instead of impulses, and your sense of worth becomes connected to execution rather than approval. Imagine writing down clearly what you want your life to look like in 5 years. Not in vague terms, but in measurable targets, specific income range, specific physical condition, specific skills mastered, specific lifestyle built. And once written, you break each into annual objectives, then quarterly actions, then weekly commitments, and suddenly your days gain structure that does not collapse because someone pulls away emotionally. A mission anchors you because it demands effort regardless of who stays or leaves, and when effort compounds daily, your confidence grows naturally, not because someone affirms you, but because you witness your own progress. Have you ever noticed how attraction shifts when you speak from direction instead of from uncertainty? When you talk about what you are building instead of asking what the relationship is? When your calendar is full because you are pursuing mastery rather than waiting for messages? That shift happens because purpose reduces desperation, and desperation is what quietly erodes leverage. Without mission, you overinvest early. You tolerate misalignment. You cling to inconsistent attention. But with mission, you evaluate whether someone complements your path or distracts from it. And if they distract you, adjust calmly without bitterness. This requires discipline because purpose is not motivation. It is routine repeated when motivation fades. You train when you feel tired. You study when it is easier to scroll. You execute when results are slow. And through repetition, you build resilience that carries into every area of life. In present tense, you wake up with defined tasks. You track metrics weekly. You evaluate progress honestly. You cut habits that waste time. You limit digital distraction. You build competence steadily. And that competence transforms how you move socially because you no longer seek constant reassurance. You operate from progress. A mission also sharpens your standards because when your time is invested in growth, you become selective with access. You value alignment over excitement, consistency over intensity, and you recognize that not every connection deserves priority in your schedule. This mindset is often misunderstood because people assume detachment means lack of care, but disciplined focus is not indifference, it is alignment, and alignment creates stability that others can feel. When you invest deeply in yourself, you shift from asking what someone feels about you to asking whether their behavior aligns with your direction, and that question alone filters out confusion. Purpose also strengthens emotional regulation because setbacks in relationships no longer define your identity. They become experiences within a larger narrative of growth, and when you view them through that lens, you recover faster, adjust smarter, and avoid spirals that once consumed you. Imagine finishing a long day of work you set for yourself, hitting the gym, completing a project milestone, reading a chapter that improves your thinking, and then receiving a delayed reply. The impact is minimal because your day was productive regardless, and that independence creates calm that cannot be faked. Over time, your self-image changes because you see yourself as someone who builds rather than waits, someone who creates rather than reacts. And that identity shift attracts differently because it is grounded in action. Purpose also demands introspection. You evaluate your weaknesses honestly, communication gaps, impatience, fear of rejection, and instead of blaming circumstances, you improve systematically. You read, you practice, you refine, and this ongoing refinement becomes your competitive advantage. When mission becomes central, you stop fearing solitude because solitude becomes productive. You use it to plan, to reflect, to strengthen, and this removes the pressure to cling to relationships simply to avoid being alone. Discipline applied. Consistently across months and years compounds into presence, and presence rooted in purpose feels different. It is steady, measured, and directed. In this state, attraction is no longer pursued aggressively. It flows towards stability, and stability comes from clarity of direction. You are not cold, you are focused, you are not detached, you are aligned. And that alignment transforms how you experience connection because you no longer abandon yourself to secure someone else. You invite them into a life already moving forward. Mission is the foundation of everything discussed earlier. Without it, emotional control weakens, boundaries collapse, mystery fades, availability expands excessively, but with mission, each trait reinforces the others. In present tense, you commit to writing your goals tonight, breaking them into steps tomorrow, acting on them daily, tracking them weekly, refining them monthly, and through that structure you build a life that stands independently of romantic outcomes. This independence is not isolation, it is strength, and strength is built through repeated intentional action. When your identity is built around growth, relationships enhance your journey instead of defining it. And that is the transformation that shifts your entire trajectory, because you stop asking for permission to feel worthy and start earning confidence through execution. And once that internal foundation solidifies, the external dynamics begin aligning naturally, not because you manipulate them, but because you have finally become anchored in direction rather than drifting in reaction. This is the line where your life splits in two: the version of you that keeps chasing validation and repeating the same emotional cycles, or the version that takes control, builds discipline, and becomes grounded enough that no one's inconsistency can shake him again. And society will never hand you this shift, because a distracted, approval-seeking man is easier to influence than a focused, self-directed one. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men is filled with timeless Stoic principles that immediately rewire how you handle attraction, rejection, uncertainty, and self-respect. And it is now available in audiobook format, so you can absorb this life-changing knowledge while walking, training, driving, building your body and your future at the same time. And once you get it, it is yours permanently, a blueprint you return to whenever old patterns try to resurface. If you are ready to stop chasing and start choosing, comment, "I choose discipline," like this video. Subscribe to help more men find these truths and save themselves years of regret.